I'm telling you a fairy tale about a woman who's so disappointed in all men that she just makes her own. It's an Italian story. The oldest version is called Pinto Smalto by Basile, but I'm telling you Calvino's version, The Handmaid King, just because it's more fleshed out and fun. The first sentence is there was a king whose wife died and left him with a daughter on his hands. Ugh. He tries to marry her off, but she refuses everyone because they're all garbage. Finally, she says, Papa, if you want me to get married so bad, give me 176 pounds of flour and the same measure of sugar, for I want to create my betrothed with my own 2 hands. The king's like, all right, I don't care. So he gives her what she wants, and she spends 6 months kneading away and making this man out of dough. In fact, the first time she doesn't like how it turns out and just starts all over, but the second time she likes how it turned out. She sticks a pepper in for his nose and then says, all right, I'm gonna call him King Pepper. The father looked him over and found him to his liking. He's like, I like him, he's quiet. I love how androgynous this illustration from the Basile version is. The girl's like, don't worry, Dad, he's gonna talk. So every day she goes before the man and says this incantation, O King Pepper, I made by my hand 6 months to refine thee, to fashion thee. Thou shalt speak our speech. She does that for 6 months, and then finally, King Pepper says, I can't talk to you, I gotta talk to your father first. I guess he was born knowing the rules of society. So she brings in the dad, King Pepper asks for the daughter's hand properly, and he says yes. They have a great wedding, everyone is happy, but there is this evil queen from another region who comes to the wedding. Calvino calls her Turk Dog. That's her name. The second she sees King Pepper, she is infatuated with him, and she is like, I'm gonna steal this man. One day, our girl and King Pepper go out for a carriage ride, and then they get out to just take in the fresh air. Well, Turk Dog has been following because she's obsessed, and suddenly a strong gust of wind takes King Pepper away, because I guess he's made of dough, and he blows right towards Turk Dog's carriage, so she just naps him and takes him home. Well, our girl doesn't know that. She can't find him anywhere. She sobs and sobs for a while, and then finally she's like, nah, I'm gonna go find my man. So she's off by herself in a forest. It gets dark. She sees this house with light, and she knocks on the door, and they're like, who's there? And she's like, a good Christian who just wants shelter. And they're like, there's no Christians out here, only animals and snakes. I don't know why they separate the animals from the snakes, but they do. Like, if you're a Christian, make the sign of the cross, and she does. They let her in, and it's an old man, and she tells him her whole story, and he's like, oh, you gotta find your man. Here, take this chestnut, don't lose it, travel on to my brother. So she does that. She gets to the second brother who gives her a walnut, and then he tells her to go to a third brother who gives her a hazelnut. The third brother tells her, over there is Turk Dog's castle, and what you need to do is go there, open up the chestnut, and a treasure's gonna come out. You gotta sell that treasure, Turk Dog's gonna want it, and she'll invite you into the palace. And then you have to say you will not take any money for it, you just want to spend a night with King Pepper. This is a trick that happens in most of the Cupid and Psyche-esque stories, like East of the Sun, West of the Moon, animal bridegroom stories, where they have to go in search of their husband. So she cracks the chestnut, it's a golden loom, and everything goes like planned. The queen wants it, she says, let me sleep with your husband, and she's like, yeah, sure, fine. But she drugs her husband before, so he's totally unconscious the whole time, she can't wake him up. But she sings her little song to him that she sang to bring him to life. Next day, she opens the next nut, and a golden woman embroidering tambour, which is a fancy kind of embroidery, I guess. She comes out, the queen wants to buy her. She says, yeah, but I want another night with your man. She says, sure, she drugs him, she sings the songs, nothing works. Now, while she's singing and weeping and crying all night, there's a prison next door to the palace where Turk Dog keeps her prisoners, and they hear her crying all night. And the first night, they're like, this is so annoying. And the second night, they're like, we're gonna tell someone about this because we can't deal with this anymore. So the next day, when King Pepper wakes up, the prisoners are like, through the bars, come over here, man. Like, every night this woman is crying, she's saying, I'm your wife, I made you out of dough, and like, you don't ever hear it, what's up? King Pepper's like, oh, she's putting opium in my wine. Tonight, I will outwit her. So the next day, our girl gets into his bedroom again by selling a maiden who is sewing pure gold, and this time he only pretended to drink the wine and pretended to get drugged. And he's like, my wife, you found me, and she's like, oh my God, you're not drugged this time, and he's like, hurry, let's run away from here. So they steal one of Turk Dog's horses and they speed away. And my favorite part is that when Turk Dog wakes up in the morning and realizes that he's gone, she pulled out her hair strand by strand, and when no hair was left, she tore off her head and perished. You would. Our heroine and her man get home safely, the king sees them and rejoices, and they all lived happily ever after. Makes sense. When you go to that length to create your own perfect man, you're gonna fight for him. Don't go stealing other people's men, especially when they made them themselves. You'll just end up ripping your own head off.